appreciate you even more. And we're trying to get, we're trying to get 100% satisfaction guarantee. To say that it's happening in real life, no, but that's my goal on a daily basis.
All right. Awesome. So I have a question from Holly Andrews. She had a really good question, which was, what are you doing differently in this environment today to keep your business going? And, I would even say, like, how do you keep your positive mindset going? Like, what's different about working through this crisis than was, 2 months ago for you and for your team?
So a lot of you saw me. We came from family reunion. We had a big hopes and plans, and I think it was just February 16 or 17. We came back from Dallas, all rising up to the occasion for best year and everything. We have everything in plan, and life is what happened when you're making other plans. So I saw it's coming. We kind of felt like something is happening, and deals started to fall apart. Things was not going to be the way we wanted it. We had a few team meetings, and we understand that something is happening big. I think just before we closed the office, I kind of like made like a manifesto or something like, okay, this is what's going to get effect immediately in the team. This is like the 10 point. This is what I have to do differently right now in order to weather the storm. And we got everybody together, and I think a lot of it is a mindset. And we went through like few points, and we kind of like, I put it in writing. It was, people will say it might be like a blur of phrases, but it's something that it put me into the mindset of like, okay, what we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order to keep it insane and be able to go through that, because I think a lot of it is a mental problem, and we have to make sure that we're staying relevant to the clients and also relevant to what's going on in order to weather the storm. So I created like, I will go through some of the stuff, like it was about protecting your mindset, about, fear is our enemy right now, trying to stay positive, and we're going through that on a daily basis. I wanted everybody on the team, including me and my family, to take care of the mental and physical health of the people. And I think I'm one of the first in the area here that we took a decision to kind of like close the office, and we took most of the listing off. We regrouped, we stopped showing before it was, and we had the conversation on what's going on, what other people do and everything. I felt like we have to take care of ourselves and our clients before we know what's going on, and we didn't wait for the governor or New Jersey to make a decision what to do. I spoke to everybody in the group, and I tell everybody right now, nobody do only what is supposed to do. Everybody's in together, and I told everybody right now, it's do it all mentality. Like everybody helps each other, everybody's into it together. Nobody, it's not in my backyard. It's not like that. So everybody's doing everything that we can in order to help each other. So that was that. And then I went over the personal with each one of the agents and also in the group in terms of expenses. I thought that it's going to be something that will not last more than 2-3 weeks. It's going to be something that's going to be taking us for a long period of time. So we worked on how to lower the expenses, and I had each one of the agents commit on his personal and also in the group how we digging into the expenses of the personal level and the group level, and to help to us to stay in a position that we're going to be relevant and stay afloat in terms of expenses like that.
So even somebody like you making millions of dollars every year still has to worry about cutting expenses. So I guess it's a good lesson for.
Believe it or not, I got to the point that I cut expenses in the. I would say to you, like, say, I just found a $49 monthly on something that I'm not using, and all of a sudden you go through your credit cards and you see $52 on homes.com that I never used this website, and it's been there for like 3 years, and Tracy and Sarah was able to cancel that. And if it's renegotiating the printer and lowering expenses on stuff like that, it all adds up. It's all add up. And I heard other people saying that, and so even Jason said that. some of the expenses are necessity. You want to stay relevant, but some of them are just something that you have to cut. And you know what? It's a good thing that happened, because when you go through the stage of being busy, you don't even looking into your numbers, and you need to lead by profit, and you need to lead by revenue. And those are the things that you don't stop and thinking about them. And now it's a great time to think about them. And I will tell you that I think 80 or 90% of the stuff that I declined or stopped in the group level, I probably will not put it back. So they probably will not need it before, and now it's just making more sense not to put it in. So I think it was a good
One
thing.
piece of advice similar to what you're saying that they talk about a lot in all these different Zoom calls, and I've tried it, it definitely helps, is to just, cancel your credit cards, and then all those automatic things will get knocked out. And then if they, if it's something you need, you just have to, give that company your card again, but it automatically cancels all those recurring things. And I thought I knew all the stuff that I had, but you realize some things are monthly, but some things are quarterly, or some things are just, you may look at this month's bill and think you got it all. And then 2 months later, you realize you signed up for something 5 years ago that's billed quarterly. So
Yeah, believe it or not, it started like, I had a website that was billing me yearly for $750. I never knew about it. It's one of my marketing guy did it 4 years ago. And I'm like, you don't see those, and you save thousands of dollars, and you need that in order to keep your operation live. So that was one thing. The other thing was that, and I'm telling everybody right now, I think with what we're going to face is that a lot of the things that we used to do in the group and we have to change is that my main lead generation in the group was open houses, because I have a lot of inventory of listing. We do a lot of open houses, and just by February, we used to have 60, 70, 80 people coming to open house. So an agent of the group coming in Saturday, Sunday can meet 150 people all of a sudden. That's a huge lead generation. I thought about it immediately, and you see that. We're not going to go back to those massive open houses in the next foreseeing future. And all of a sudden, okay, this is my main lead generation right now. How are we going to get lead generation if we're not, cold calling and stuff like that? So the focus was to be prepared to win and convert on every appointment. I saw the numbers. We have a lot of leads, and we converted in one level. And I'm telling every agent here that's listening right now is that I think that the amount of leads, the amount of opportunities will shrink as we go more forward from that. And that lead us to a better conversion to get these leads from whatever, internet lead, sphere of influence, somebody you meet or whatever, and you have to convert it to a better conversion in terms of getting the leads into your met, into your sphere, into a client. I think we're going to have less opportunities. And that leads you to the next level of, okay, what I have to do right now in order to up my game. And this is the next thing of like, okay, training based on location. And we capitalize right now on the Zoom, on all what KW and the BCP offer us in order to double down right now in training. And even in my group, I can tell you that, not every agent wanting the same level of experience and the same level of training. And being remotely right now and all the time, it gives you a lot of time to the people right now to catch up, dig in on script practices, on the buyer presentations, seller presentations, getting to know the trends of the market and everything. With all what we're getting right now, I felt that it's amazing that we have the time to pause and wrap up the training. So that was the other thing. And going through that was the virtual conversation, visual showing, and you need to be prepared for that in the education level and being shown, because when you meet somebody face to face, you can interact more in person. When you do virtual conversations, I think your experience and your expertise needs to show immediately as a first impression. So the training is very important for that.
So I have a quick question for you. I know when I go to the, family reunion, or I get on a Zoom call, I take notes, and I'm always like, aside from sort of bigger picture stuff, I want to take away, like, what's something I can get off this call and go and do, that'll help. So if you had to give one piece of advice, so let's say to a new agent, either before coronavirus or after, or maybe one of each, like, what's the best piece of advice to generate business that you could give to a new agent?
I found that the basic things that I'm doing right now, and it will sound ridiculous to say, I went over my phone and I started from Z to A. I said, I'm not going to start from A. Everybody starts from A all the time. I started from Z to A, and I go day by day on a time blocking.
Shaking her head. She's happy that you started with the Z. So
Yeah. So I'm starting with Z, and I go day by day, and that's to answer Margaret Hanna about my time, what I'm doing in those days. I time block every day, going through my contacts, and I just calling people on my database and on my contact. How you doing? How do you feel? Anything I can help with. And that tucking in a lot of stuff that you did also do the PCP, like anything I can help you to lawyer insurance. I have a great guy that can help you. You need to help with finance. I have a great mortgage that you can do a refinance. Do you need help with groceries? Do you need some resources? Do you have any questions about what's going to happen? I don't ask anything about real estate.
Now, is that just now during the coronavirus, or is that what you always did?
I was always trying to stay in touch with my clients, but as much as it got bigger and everything, I will tell you something. I'm not feeling comfortable, you know, I will say that some people that I haven't talked for 3, 4, 5 years in my database, personally, you know, they're getting the 33 touch and everything, but nobody was touched personally. And you need to go over that hump and feel like, I'm not talking about like, say you did a deal with somebody 3, 4 years and you haven't called them and you haven't talked to him. Don't feel uncomfortable. Make a call. They will so appreciate that. Today I did about 50 calls. I'm in letter B, by the way, so I'm almost done. So it's time to go back to the office when I finish A. But I call people that I spoke like 4 or 5 years ago. You have no idea the amount of appreciation and the relevance that you become when you just asking people, how you doing? How you manage? If you know you have kids, how the kids doing? How the homeschooling going? How's your parents? And I remember I have a good memory, but if you don't have a good memory, I always tell you guys, you know, put notes on your clients on your phone, and when they call you, or when you call them, you see the notes, you scroll down. He has a dog named Marty, he's firefighter, his wife works in Walmart, his daughter has a problem with asthma, whatever. And then you don't have to remember it, but when you call them and you just, you know, you stay relevant by asking them something personal about their family or about something about the stage of life, and that will go extra mile for them.
Yeah, that definitely goes such a long way in creating a connection. So either your phone or command is a good place to put that information.
Absolutely.
Moving up the line, you know, like from a new agent, I think that works for all agents. What about somebody that has a team? If you could give, you know, one piece of advice to somebody who's either starting your team or has a team, what would that be? You know, you always seem to have a cohesive team. A lot of times you hear of teams that are turning over like crazy or fighting or not getting along. It seems like you always have a pretty cohesive, you know, team. What's the advice?
First of all, thank you. Full disclosure, you know, everything from the outside looked perfect for everybody. You know, the green of the neighbor is greener. So even in my team, we don't have a perfect mechanism, and we have our own issues, and not everything works 100%. And I couldn't find national-wide, you know, top agent that it works perfect. So don't think like, okay, he's the number one agent or whatever, and everything goes smooth. We have our own struggles, we have our own problems. But I found that in this stage, my team and my agents right now start to realize that everything that I was talking about over the years about the shift and lead generation and phone calls and basics and everything, but everything was going smooth and everything goes fine, and everybody kind of like put it on the side, and it's not the first priority. Right now, when you're sitting at home and the calls are not coming into the office, and you don't have open houses, and you don't have a lot of buyers knocking on the door and a lot of sellers wants to list, now my agents understand as a team, wow, he was right. Let's go back to the database. Let's go back to education. Let's go back to getting in touch with people for the personal right now. And I found it that right now it's the best time for me right now to go backwards on my team. And I tell to everybody right now and wrap up the accountability level in your team. Um, with the help right now of Keller Williams and Eileen is doing a great job, and we're trying to do with Colin and everybody right now with my foundations, you know, Tracy and Sarah right now. We're trying to create right now. We're going backwards, and we're going right now to wrap up the accountability because we're going to go back right now, and I don't want to go back to my old habits that us and the team and the agents, we're getting by and everything. But I want to make sure right now that we're doing the right thing on a daily basis. You know, everything that we learn in bold and all those habits that you're doing it on a short period of time and you stop them.
Is there like a specific, discrete piece of advice, like, you know, somebody hangs up the Zoom, you know, that you would say they should go do for their team that would be helpful for their team?
For the team right now, you go start with your past clients. Make sure that you have all the information in order. Birthdays, kids, emails, phone number, addresses. Make it from A to Z, 100%. Get it done. Put them on campaigns and put them on consumer app and get it on command. Start with your past clients. That's because you have to understand also something. When you grow as an agent, you don't want to rely on a pay-per-click or leads that you have to pay them in order to generate business. I think as long as we go right now with the change of the environment, those will be more expensive and less desirable. You want to work organically from what you have. So I know when you're starting, you don't have much, but you have to keep it in composure in order to grow it. And when you have more as a team that already developed, you have to really rely on what you have in terms of past clients and people that already on your database and trying to get most of the leads and the database to feed your business. We always say that, database. Now you see that more than ever right now. And one of the questions that you sent me was like, what's your top priority? And then for me right now, top priority is talk to the database. And once we go out of it and we can talk again about real estate, I will go back to the database and I'll try to get the appointments from the database.
So one of the other questions from Margaret was, which is a good question, you know, do you follow a schedule and time block, and what does a typical day, you know, look like for you and the people on your team?
Okay, so Margaret, typical day like that when the kids at home or at the team? I don't know.
I guess
Right now with the kids at home and everything, it's the timetable is not the best. I will tell you, I have three kids with different classes that it's a big struggle to have them working and learning, and my wife taking the big role out of it, and she feeding everybody, and we're trying to get everybody in place. So that's not the case, but I'm still trying to work on a time block. So I'm working on the database systematically. I'm trying to keep the deals together that we still have, because right now I found a very big difficulty right now to get to the closing table, Margaret. So again, you do more, you probably is the numbers game. So I had a lot of deals falling apart. So I felt right now, me as the team leader right now for my agents, the biggest focal point right now is to make sure that I'm on the pulse and getting them to the closing table, because we're living right now on the team level, everybody on those deals that we're carrying over until we go back to full circle. And I think that's the second priority I have. And the third priority that I have right now is to keep the team in place with good mental health, trying to help them to get the best out of it in terms of training, staying relevant with their clients, working on the pipeline, and like I said, making sure that we're doing the accountability. We have like a daily meeting with the director of operation in the morning. We're going over the stuff, we're getting updates. I send them stuff that they need to follow up. End of the day, they logging in with their numbers, and we're creating some kind of accountability sheet in order to get everybody is in line. And that's creating a system and a habit that I want to carry when we go out of it and we'll be back in the office. and I'm trying to stay insane. Sanity right now is the most important things to do. On a regular basis, Margaret, I will tell you that it sounds ridiculous, but my goal on every day for the last 7 years or 8 years since I started to be very meaningful of what I'm doing is to get one listing appointment a day. Sounds very, one listing appointment a day, that's my goal. And you can hear everybody from my group. Sometimes I have to tell my wife I'm not coming to dinner today because I was extremely busy and I have to make at least 50 calls to make the appointment. And sometimes I'll be home at 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. That's something that never changed. One appointment, listing appointment a day.
Awesome. So I just had a couple questions, maybe just to try to, and you don't have to answer these. The team leaders hate these questions. They're always like sort of deep, kind of get to know you questions that have nothing to do with business. You can skip them, do that for a few minutes, and then maybe we'll open it up. I'm sure a lot of people want to ask you some questions, but one thing I thought of, it's like, do you have a philosophy in life? If you had to say like, what's Zohar's philosophy? What would that be?
Guys, you put me on the stand. Philosophy in life.
If you don't, I have a bunch. If you don't have a good answer for that one, I can keep going.
Philosophy in life. I think that, again, with me coming to a new country as a new immigrant, I think it's related to my big why. I don't know if it's a philosophy. I'm trying to do as good as I can get in order to justify the big change that I did in my life. I'll be a little bit personal, and I would say that there is something in me. I feel guilty that I left my country, in a sense, and my family. So it's always haunting me that I'm here and they're there. So I'm trying to do something great in order to compensate that. So that's something that always motivates me. So I'm trying.
My question is, what motivates you? So is that it? Sort of the kind of like prove that it was all worth it, uprooting everybody and coming here. That it was worth it.
I think it's something to do with that. The burden of the proof of me leaving my country, leaving my family from a choice. I didn't. From a choice. It needs to be for a very, very, very good purpose. And if it's for me, it will be something that will be materialistic, able to provide good life, able to help my family, able to provide and help more people when I grow my extended family of my group. And now I'm more to help the community and to give back. I'm trying always now to extend the big why of what I'm doing right now to help others in order to fill up the hole in my heart, I would say, because I don't know if my wife is on the call or not. I don't think I'm coming back to Israel by now. So I need to keep filling the empty hole that I left by giving back, by doing something great, by justifying that to my family and my kids.
All right, cool. So
I didn't pretend that you're going to ask something like that, but.
So I'll give you a choice of three, because so you're not like blind.
Number three.
Questions, but just things that I would love to know about. Do you have like a personal hero? What's your biggest fear, and what's your proudest accomplishment? Just pick one. Or you could do all three, but I know they're hard. Like people hate this because they're big questions. They put you on the spot, but I think we'll come out of it knowing you a little bit better, which is cool.
I'll tell you something. It sounds like a cliche. My biggest fear is myself. I think I'm very insecure in a lot of ways. I will tell you right now, I'm feeling a little bit comfortable because I'm by myself. If I was sitting in front of these 160 people, I probably would be sweating and not be able to talk. So my biggest fear is myself.
So that's a great thing right there. I think just for everyone to know, because I think people think successful people, you've gone and spoken, in front of thousands of people at family reunion, and people think like stuff like that just comes easy to you. I think it's great to see that the number one guy in the MLS has a lot of the same insecurities and fears that everybody else on this call does.
I'll tell you the truth. Like just 2 weeks ago, they asked me to talk in the Wayne Keller Williams, and then between you and me, she just posted it like the whole conversation for an hour on a video on a Facebook. I called her terrified, like, please take it off. I don't want to see myself in a video, you know, like, so that's something about me. I'm like, I'm very, and I take it as also as an advantage. And you ask me about a hero or somebody, I would say that my wife, as my business and life partner and everything, she's empowering me, she's encouraging me, and she's like, you know, maybe she said she maybe I fooled her because she thought I'm gonna have a nice big hair and I got bald when we got married. But she married a regular guy and I still am a regular guy. But she's the one that's pushing me all the time. And I think if you ask me about a hero right now, you know, everybody will say my parents. But right now with me, it's my wife. She's doing it all. She's keeping the family together. And when I'm outside of the house 7 days a week, 16, 18 hours a day, she's raising the kids and giving me the platform to succeed on a high level. So for me, she's a hero.
Funny, I feel the same. Someone asked me that question a couple weeks ago, my hero, and I said Dorit Zamir.
No.
All right, last question, and then we'll open up to the agents. People are sick of hearing me. What's your biggest challenge in business, either today or pre-coronavirus, either one?
First of all, about the coronavirus, in the end of the day, they're going to find a cure sooner or later, and we'll get out of it. I think it was a good pause. Hopefully, it's not going to be too long, and we're going to recover. I think we're going to have. We're gonna come back strong from that, and I think that we just have to wait until things will sort out. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I think we're gonna be fine. Think about it like 2 step forward to 3 step up. That's about that. My biggest challenge right now is to find the balance in my business of staying in production that I love. I like the personal touch. I like to do the deals. I like to do that. And to the degree of like staying in touch with the persons, being in production and not become like a manager, you know, like my group become like, okay, it's the kind of a beast that's feeding himself, but I want to be relevant. I want to stay with the people. I don't want to say, okay, he's too big. He's sitting in the office. He's not selling homes. He's not taking buyers. He's not dealing with the sellers and everything. I want to keep doing that. So that's something that I'm trying to find a balance, how I'm keeping a group that's working, everybody's growing within the group and staying also relevant in production. That's my next challenge.
Okay. All right. I think Elise is helping us proctor this. Do you have some questions in the chat for Zohar?
I see a question that, what type of advertising are you doing, video or mailing?
Okay, so I don't do a lot. I have, as you know, again, video is not my thing, even though everybody tell me I should do. I haven't done advertising in video and stuff like that. I do a little bit print advertisement in the local community here in Glen Rock, Paramus, Fairlawn. You know, regular print, old-fashioned way. I do. I have a little bit of a Zillow, which I cut it by 70% since the last 3 years ago. So I'm about 30% capacity of what I had before that. And most of my advertising that I do right now, it's back into my sphere, past clients, retention, and local community, local charities, events, and stuff like that. So I started a lot of stuff big, and now it's all went down, and now I'm shifting it into the past clients in the database. Back on what I said before, I think working and spending the money on your database and your past client is the best investment that you can have.
I had a kind of what could be a self-serving question, but I think it's actually good for the other agents to hear and, you know, give us your honest answer. But for being, you know, obviously you must be one of the busiest agents that we have because you're our #1 agent, but you seem to spend an inordinate amount of time generating leads for our title company and our insurance company. Is that because you're seeing a good, and you can be honest.
I'll be honest.
Really good financial return on your investment, or is it just because you're a team player? Like, and how do you find time when, say, an agent that does, 3 deals a year says they can't find time to work on that kind of stuff with your crazy, life, kid, young children, $100 million in sales? Why and how do you find time to generate the leads for the other ancillary companies?
I think it has few hats. I think one, again, in my core, I'm a team player. I want to be in compliance. I like to go like if I'm a military guy. If you tell me, okay, this is the order, I'll follow the order. As long as it's an order that has, legit, if you
I'm
tell me
allowed
now
to give you orders. I had no idea I could order agents around. That's good to know.
By the way, that's sometimes a fault. I think that, okay, like my wife said to me, you're not in the military. Sometimes I'm running fast and I'm looking behind and I'm like, where are you guys? It's not like a military that you go forward and everybody follow you. So sometimes I need to understand that. But again, in my core, I'm a military trained. You give me an order, I do that. So if I know that, okay, that's the best thing to do for the team, that's the best thing we have to do, and it works for me, and it's a good title company, it's a good insurance, it's a good lender, I will be the first one to focus on that. So that's for that question on my core. Second thing is that I think that financially it makes sense for everybody on every level because it's always a passive income, and I'm a big believer in passive income. I say that a lot of times, is that we're as good as our last deals. And we see it now, right now. We're talking about unemployment right now. Some people have zero in the pipeline. Think about that. If you are referring people for insurance right now, you can get some money. If you have a title company, people right now will do refinance, you're going to get paid from the title. So those are the things that help you financially, and you don't think about it when you're doing well, but when you're not doing well or when you make it purposeful, it happens. I can tell you that even recruit or bringing people to the market centers. I spent 1 hour yesterday with an agent in Wyckoff that I'm trying to bring and help to grow the market center in Ridgewood. And I'm having another call today on something like that. Why I think it's important? Because I think in the big picture, it helps everybody and me in the end, and everybody can have time for
the
that.
Financial thing, it's because you want to be a team player. Do you find, what I found people, especially during this coronavirus, is saying they felt, the fact that they were an investor in the company, or at least it was part of their own company, they had a little more control over their deals, rather than it being some title company that they don't know, or insurance provider they don't know, or a mortgage guy they don't know. The fact that it was part of our company gave them a little bit more control in helping get deals, to the closing table.
I will not recommend or push somebody that I don't feel comfortable with. And I'll tell you, I work with Carnegie personally, and it works for me better than the other. Team Fox, I use it myself. It saved me money and doing a great job. Cathy, if it's Atlantic Home Loans or whoever use somebody else, I will not replace them with somebody else. So I will vouch and help with people that they are good. If I will tell you, listen, Al, as much as I want to work and be a team player, but the people that we're having are not supplying the goods for me, or they're not doing what I want, I will be the first one to tell you that I don't think it's a good fit for me. So I'm coming from a personal experience that these are best things that happen to us, that we're able to align with them, and it helps the company. So why not doing that?
Makes sense. All right, Elise, you have some more questions from chat?
Yep. The other question is, what are the 50 people a day that you're calling to get the listing appointment? Who are the 50 people a day that you're calling?
So again, now it's systematically by the letters, but I'm calling past clients, asking for referrals. I'm calling for, let's say, people that we met. I'm calling people, for example, that came to open houses, thinking about selling. I'm calling anybody that I know and is on my database right now.
So Lynn Smothergill asks, if you had to pick one back office task that brings the most value, what is the most important task to you?
In terms of generating income?
I don't know. Is Lynn, Lynn, or can we unmute Lynn and she can ask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lynn, what was it? Can you clarify?
Yes. What's the one thing you do when you're not out in the field that you probably just answered it though?
Calling people. I'm like, I found, I don't know, maybe I have some good connection, personal connection with people. I know that I can get people to trust me, they feel comfortable working with me.
Mm-hmm.
So they get that when there's a personal connection. With all due respect about all the internal leads and everything, if you don't do the phone call and you're showing, knowledge and respect and their needs and wants, they will not work with you. So I'm trying to get as much as people to talk to me on the phone or meet with me personally. I'll tell you something. Somebody called me. He heard about me from somebody, and he wants to put his house for sale. He lives in Glen Rock. I didn't met anybody in the last month and a half. I told him, listen, I'll stop by your house. I want you to see me. I want you to feel comfortable with me. I sat in my car. He came out with his wife. He said, do you want to see the house? I said, I don't want to put you in a danger. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. Let's talk when it's gone. I just want you to see me, connect the face to the phone. Hi, thank you. I'll be in touch with you and whatever. I think by that, I show them, A, that I'm not too pushy about getting the business or, oh, let me see the house or whatever. I was not pushing him to do any business on the spot. And I showed him a personal touch of like, I want to meet with you. I want to be with you. I'm here to help you. And I'm sure that's going to be a listing within the next month too, whatever it's going to be happening. And sometimes you have to put things that, like I made a decision, most of the listing, we took it off. We drawn it temporarily, and a lot of the stuff that we had, we take them off because of situation, older people, kids, moving and everything. I feel right now and again, some people, I hear about the Zoom, some people making a lot of cold calling expires and everything. My personal, I haven't done it for the last month and a half. I think it's, for me, I think long run, I don't feel comfortable to calling people that they might be in need or they might have a problem. So I felt I didn't cold calling or expired in the last month and a half.
Thanks, Zohar. In the interest of making this more interactive, maybe instead of me or Elise reading the questions, we get the people who actually ask them. So it looks like Arlene has a question, Susan,
Okay.
Leslie, any of you guys there to ask your question? Susan, I see you. I'll unmute you.
Zohar, real quick, I was just wondering, it's Arlene. I was wondering if you were using Command and what database, when you talk that you use your database, what are you using?
Okay, so I want to say something about Command. I'm in a process of right now understanding that. You have to understand that it was built for the agents on the personal level, and I was a team that working, and it was not filling in the gaps.
Right.
And then, like when we came from family reunion, after promises, it was up to the level of 6 people, and I was in a level of 10 people and up. So I was not able to fit it in. So I tried to migrate it, and it didn't work out. But what we're doing right now, we're working right now on all the levels that I have in order to shift it when it's going to be ready. So right now, I don't want to do double the work. So we're working on all what we have right now, trying to get it as order as we can. Our agents in the group right now getting the knowledge about the Command on their own level and the new leads that they're coming, fitting into the Command. But as a group, we haven't moved yet. And I'm using right now, I'm still in the old platform of the E-Edge. And I want to tell you something. It can be an E-Edge, it can be boom town, Excel sheet or whatever. Everything that works for you and it works fine, it's work. Command will take you to the next level in terms of being techie, being on top of them, searches, consumer app, and intelligence about your clients. But I'll find that for me, E-Edge right now, it works fine if you work it out. If you have people on campaign and you touch them and you send them letters once in a few months, and when they have their birthday, they get a birthday card. And when they have a new baby, you send them something nice in the mail. And that's another question that I saw you. And you acknowledge them in social media. And you call them once or 2 times a year, personally. And you endorse something that they did in their business life, and you recommend them as a local business help to each other. You don't need to have crazy $6,000, $8,000 platform for database. Everybody will have to believe me, guys. I using my phone and as my database for $107 million producing. Okay, so there's no hidden agendas here. And I'm paying nothing. I'm paying, I don't know, $80 or $70 for the That's it.
All right. Thank you, Zohar. Susan and Reza had questions.
Yes, I have a question. Zohar, so when you call your past clients now and you start the conversation with asking them how they are, how do you then lead it into asking for a referral now?
Okay, so it's very, very, very funny. I will tell you that 80% of my conversations in the last month, I was talking about them, and they will go back to me and say to me, and how you doing? Real estate probably is bad for you. How we can help you? Are you selling homes? What's going on? Like, I don't talk about the real estate. They flipping it back on me, and they're getting like excited to hear about me, and it comes from them. And then I'll tell you something. I didn't get a lot of referrals, but you're staying relevant in their head right now, and they will remember you. I just called just before the call here. I called a couple that I sold their house. They moved to Fort Lee to an apartment building, retired, and she was like, I called her. She didn't answer. I just left her a message. I even haven't talked to her. She called me with her husband, both of them on the call on speaker, like for like 45 seconds. Just, you have no idea what you did for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're doing well. We are so thankful for this call and everything. We're not taking it as granted. So as much as everybody thinks that everybody calling the people, I don't think a lot of people calling.
Right. So then when they ask you, how are you doing now in the market and what's happening, what do you say?
I don't like to sugarcoat things. You know me, whoever knows me knows I'm a very straight shooter. I don't like to sugarcoat. I said, guys, it's a struggle right now. But we're trying to create right now procedures and platforms, how to sell homes in a safe environment. And moving forward from that, we're able to do that. And I tell them, listen, we're able to sell. We're doing some sales. We have some people, you know, God forbid, got sick, got laid off of work and stuff like that. But you have to understand something, and that's something that I want everybody to know right now, is that A, we have motivated buyers out there, and B, we have motivated sellers out there. So we're going to be back into production. And even now, I can tell you that I'm dealing with deals right now as we speak, and some of them are having single homes or see only virtual homes. Some people pregnant, some people want to move, some people downsizing. Deals are happening right now, not maybe in the highest pace that we saw in January, February, but you need to right now having conversation with people about their motivation. And motivation will be the key for you to convert to appointment and to make more deals, because that will drive the economy right now. We're going to have a strange conversation about seller that don't want to list maybe, and buyer that wants to buy. And if the motivation is there, the deal will happen. So motivation is the key right now when you're doing the conversation with people.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Reza, I hope I'm pronouncing your name
Asa,
correctly.
yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
Zohar, hi.
Susan's, I don't know if that answered or answered you or not, or.
My turn?
Yes, your turn.
Okay, sorry. Can you share some of the things that you do to stay in touch with your past clients? How often do you call them? And then what else do you do after that, after you call them?
So remember also some of my past clients also working under the agents on the group. So I make sure that the agents are like in touch with them, and we're doing it on a meetly, you know, like it's a holiday, call the people. I'm forcing them, okay, make 100 calls by tomorrow. Let me know that you talked to your past client. We make sure that their birthday is recorded and we acknowledge it on social media. We're sending them thank you notes on occasions. When they have a baby, when they have an occasion, we're trying to send something nice. We give little gift, little gestures. Sometimes we used to do events. We're sending small tokens of appreciation. When people give us a referral or just say a good name about it, we send them something. I think the investment in past clients and people in your sphere is the most it's the best buck for your money. And we depends again with comment and everything. People that like to know how much the house is worth in the area, so we're putting them on the market newsletter. We use we send them nice brochures. We make them. I'm trying to be engaged with them social media on a personal level, and this is something that is not related to the business. When you show them that you're also on a personal level trying to stay in touch with them, they like it much. You're not just a transaction for them. Mm-hmm. So I think that the mix of social media and staying engaged with your past clients on a personal level, it's also important. Not only, selling, personal stuff, it's very important.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Zohar. Luann had a question?
What was my question? Oh, what's the best advice to build your downline? I know you have a great downline. Like, how do you?
My best advice, I think it's start of being fair and being a good communicator with another agent in when you're doing a transaction. And when they see that we're doing something that is different than most other agents, it's very easy to start a conversation after that of like, what you're missing in your own company, or what do you think we can do better in order to help your business? Or they're asking me, what do you like about Keller Williams? You can have that conversation with agents only if you have a good rapport and good relationship with them. You cannot have a shitty conversation with an agent or have a bad experience on a transaction and give the name for your team leader and ask him to move to the company. It's not going to happen. So I follow the W14, win-win, and try to be a problem solver in transaction and get it to the closing table, be good in communication and be fair and honest. Agent will like that, because a lot of agencies don't have that, and they see we're a little bit different. And another thing is that I found that a lot of my downline came from my past clients. So that's go back to your other questions, keeping them in touch and everything. And believe it or not, people right now staying at home, they have 1 month of free time. Okay, let's do a real estate course. Now you can do it online. Good. Let me send you a brochure for $50 off. You can sign off. Let me help you. What else do you need? Any questions and everything? And they become an agent after that, and they will remember that you gave them a $50 coupon and you help them to register for the school or stuff like that. So that's two little things, but I can go one-on-one and let you a little bit more what I'm doing right now.
It's funny. I can tell you that Zohar builds his downline the exact opposite of how Keller Williams tells you to do it, even though he's by far has the biggest downline, is the best at it. The idea is supposed to be agents refer and team leaders recruit. So it's supposed to be, you're supposed to just sort of pique the interest of people and then turn it over to the team leaders who are professionals at doing this so that you can go about your business. Zohar takes the meetings by himself, spends hours a week. Sometimes he's like, I was just meeting somebody literally for 3 hours at my house yesterday. And I'm going, that you're not supposed to do that. We tell people you shouldn't be doing that, but it works for Zohar. So I don't know if it's, do as I say, not as I do. I don't know if other people could do, I don't know how you do it, Zohar. And I'm not just trying to be nice. How you're the top referrer for Carnegie Title, Carnegie Home and Auto, spend all this time meeting with people one-on-one and still have a big team. I don't know how you do it, other than every time I'm talking to you, you answer like 10 phone calls in the middle of while you're talking to me. So maybe.
Yeah, and I'm looking right now. I don't know. I'm a multitasker person. I cannot stay sit. I think this time of the whatever happened right now just proved me that I'm not meant to something like that. I cannot stay at home for a long time. I like to be moving and shaking. And I'm gonna be like, I don't know who did the Zoom with the guy that talked about the boat that has been straight to the back. Who was that? Jason Abrams, I think. You're talking about the boat, about the economy, and it's getting momentum, and it's going to get released. I feel like I'm like laid back, and I'm ready to storm back. But I think everybody should take the best out of it and come focus for that. But the thing is that you don't have to focus on everything all the time. Just you know, the one thing is important. And if the one thing for you right now is to build up your database, do that. If your one thing is recruit, do that. I have the time right now to do a little bit of all, but I don't want people to think that, don't try to do it all. It doesn't work most of the time. Trying to focus on one thing. And if one thing is for you is to step up to be a better agent, a solo agents, step up on that. If you want to build a team, that should be your one thing. If your one thing is recruiting, focus on that. That should be your goal.
One thing, and thanks for staying on so long, Zohar. So, by the way, for everybody, Zohar committed to 15 minutes. I said you could have 15 minutes or you can have the whole hour. He said, I don't want to do more than 15 minutes. So an hour into this, he's a good sport. And I don't pretend to know the secret to Zohar's success, but one thing I would say, you know, as an outsider that I've noticed about Zohar that I think is a big part of it is, and again, I'm not just blowing smoke. I think this is you know, maybe not a tactic because it comes natural to Zohar, but it's advice I would give to everyone. He's not only one of the most successful guys, he's one of the most humble. So when newer agents, I think, want to post, you know, don't knock the hustle, you know, how great I am, I'm closing lots of deals. Nobody roots, in my opinion, for that person. Nobody's rooting for the braggart. No one's rooting for the person who wants to talk about themselves. You talk to Zohar, he downplays it. If he sold 100 million, he tells you it's 50 million. If he works 20 hours a day, he tells you he's only working 4 hours a day. He asks you about how you're doing, how's your family. Those are the people, you know, that you want to spend time with. Nobody wants to spend time with a braggart. You know, if you had to go to dinner with somebody, you want somebody like Zohar is going to ask you about your family, ask you about your kids, not brag about the new car they bought or how many deals they closed. Zohar, you have to pull it out of him to get him to talk about how successful he is. You know, it's sort of like this inverse thing. I found a lot of times the more successful an agent gets, the less humble they get, the more difficult they are to deal with. Certainly not in BCP. I'm talking about other companies. But so for any of you that out there think that, you know, by bragging or telling people how busy you are, like, you know, I've met people that lost listings, you know, that I got listings when I started because they said the listing agent were bragging about how busy they are. If you're on the other side of it, do you want to work with a guy who you feel like has all the time in the world to help you, or is telling you how busy you are? You don't want to work with that guy or woman because you think they're never going to have enough time. So I think just, you know, there's a book out there called The Ideal Team Player, and I want to talk about it on a Zoom coming up. There's an exercise you can do. It's about being hungry, humble, and smart. And, you know, Zohar and a lot of our agents are all of those things. But I think, again, people new to it think they have to be flashy and brag. And it's the opposite. Nobody roots for those people. You know, you find people that are rooting for Zohar. Zohar doesn't need any help, but yet people are still rooting for him, you know, because he's a good guy. And I know I'm kind of prattling on, but it's sort of, you know, I think it's one of the most important lessons you can learn. And I love that our top agent is maybe our most humble agent. And I think it's not a coincidence. I think they go hand in hand. All right. So who else had a question for Zohar before we wrap it up? I know we're a little bit over, maybe one or two more questions. Zohar, is that okay with you?
That's fine.
Hey, Zohar, it's Amrita.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you? We're going to revive that deal as soon as this is over.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. Okay, so I want to know, and I always ask this question of people who've been in the business and have seen downturns. What do you think, not that you have a magic 8 ball, but what do you think is going to happen once this is over for that price point in the middle and the higher price point? What's your speculation?
Just a speculation. I'll give you my 2 cents of the dollar here. I think short term we're going to have a problem because of finding the right tuning and procedures how to conduct business. And once we're going to get the rhythm how to conduct business, things will start to flow a little bit better. I think that as long as the rate keep low, we're going to have in most of our price points, I would say up to 700, 800. In most of our areas in Bergen County will be fine. I think because there's a lot, I can tell you that, listen, all those 100 buyers that came to my open houses in February and now they don't have nothing to buy and they're now facing a problem with their families, let's say even 50 are not buying. Still there's a 50 on every house that was on the market. So, and I looked on Jeff Otto trend, he said that we're gonna have low inventory market with a buyer's market. I found it a little bit awkward. I think that we're gonna have still a bunch of people will list right away. We're gonna have a lot of inventory, but it's gonna be exhaust right away with all the buyers that we're standing on the fence. And then we're gonna be back in Bergen County in our area, in desirable area in a low inventory again. So I think the demand is still there. I think we're gonna see that. That's now the effectiveness on the low price point. If people are losing their job and feeling not secure, I feel it a little bit more in my price point when it's like the 400, 600, 700. We might feel a little bit of difficulty on that. The luxury, a lot of the executives didn't feel so much change, even though their investments went a little bit down. So they're kind of like on the fence. I think the third quarter will be much better. Hopefully we're gonna find a cure for that. And I think 2021 will be a good year. To tell you how we're gonna finish this 2020, I'm committed to, I heard it from somebody, to make a lemonade out of the lemons. And try to be as positive as we can. I'm ready to go. I just need the governor to give us the okay to start, and I'm ready to pull it as fast as possible, you know, and then to jump on it.
Okay, Zozo, it's Karen. Hi.
Hi, Karen. How you doing?
Good, how are you? You look nice with the beard. You look like a rabbi.
That's gonna be gone when the corona is gone.
Okay, so actually one of the guys, Ernie, put a good question, and I'm trying to deal with making an offer on this house, and the agent thinks that there's going to be a run from New York City into New Jersey for the luxury buyers, and the prices are going to go up or stay the same. I want to know your opinion because I trust you as my friend and as a great agent.
I think the New York and the boroughs, we're going to get benefit out of it. You know, if we are in communities that have transportation to Manhattan and the suburb, I think we're going to get some benefit out of it. And you look at it right now when a lot of people, you know, we have a huge demand right now for rentals, short-term rentals and rentals. And people understand that, you know what, if I have to be stuck at home, I want to have a backyard and I have privacy and not seeing everybody in the elevator and in the laundry room. So I think that will be an effect that will help us. They're talking about 5 to 12% discount in the prices right now.
Yeah.
Which I tend to agree, but I will tell you something, and that's something that will never change. If you price correctly, you'll get multiple offers. If your house is in good condition and good location, you'll get prime dollar right now. And so I will not be surprised if people will overpay right now or people will be in competition if you price it right. So the conversation that you're gonna have to work with sellers right now is not A, to try to be greedy, and B, trying to be very realistic, because you're not going to be able to drive a lot of people into a property right away and creating the frenzy. But if you priced it right, you will get top dollar. So I'm not so pessimistic about the prices like other people do. I get people calling me saying 20%, 30%, 40%. I don't think it's there. Look at the inventory, look at the inventory level. I think we're in good shape. We're in good shape in terms of inventory in Bergen County. We'll be fine.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, my friend.
Zohar. All right. Since Zohar is now officially an hour longer than he was supposed to be, let's make it one last question. Who has a good final question? Anybody? Well, we answered all the questions.
I have a question.
Hi, Connie.
How are you, dear? Okay. Have you had any experience with the sellers who's occupying the house and refuse to show? And have you had any success?
Yes.
How did you
okay.
do that?
I'll give you 2 examples that happened to me, and it shows again what I discussed before about motivation. Okay. So I have a couple right now. They're in the risk group, you know, 70 and older. They already purchased a house in Florida. And we had a buyer that the first buyer lost his job. And now the second buyer also got job problematic. So, and they don't want to show the house. But they understand right now that they have to show the house because they already committed to Florida. They have the moving and everything.
Right.
I was able to create a protocol right now that I'm really pre-screening the people, showing them the video, explaining to them what's going on. and really trying to make the deal almost virtually done before they even stepping into the house. And with the precaution right now, we're able to brought somebody in and to obtain an offer. That's somebody with a high motivation. The second thing I will tell you right now, I have a listing signed right now, but she have a kid with a problem. You know, you have some problems, and she's not willing to show the house no matter what. She don't even let me bring a photographer in. And she said, I will give you some photos. That's not a photo I can sell the house with. You have to deal with it with care. And in the end of the day, you can try as much as you can, but I cannot force them to show the house if they don't want it. So you have to see about that. I found more success on a vacant home right now. If it's a new construction or houses that are vacant, we found more success on those. With the occupied property, it's now a struggle. I can tell you that in desirable location and good pricing points, people today are willing to commit to see a house and put in an offer without seeing the house, especially. Yeah, but then we'll have to see what we're gonna do with inspection and appraisal and everything. And so, you know, today I had an appraisal that the appraisal didn't want to come to the house. He asked me about the floor plans, pictures, and he did it from his home. So things will be in place, and we'll create procedures and protocols to sell homes with limited showings or no showing at all, or push them after we're out of the woods. So we have to be prepared for that.
Okay.
Good luck, Connie.
Thank you,
you,
dear.
Connie.
Thank you.
There's a lot of
Zohar. I think
gratitude
we're
for
gonna wrap
you.
it up. Zohar, I would say we've gotten the most positive comments of any of these things that I've done so far. People are saying, great advice, Zohar. You're the definition of class. This was everything, Zohar.
I need to
Thank you for
screenshot.
sharing your knowledge. You're probably not going to be humble anymore after I read all this stuff. You're going to be.
I need to go back to work, so don't put too much. Good.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, Aaron. I see you.
All right. Well, thanks
Zohar,
again.
toda rabah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
We're going to try to have great guests like Zohar going forward.
Thank
We have
you, Zohar.
Chris
Bye,
Ward
guys.
coming up.
Stay home, stay safe, and
Thank
we're gonna be stronger.
very much. Thank you, Zohar. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
guys.
Stay safe.
Thanks,
Stay
Zohar.
healthy.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zohar.
Great. Thank you.